Never give up. In the quiet village of Rampur, nestled between hills and vast fields, lived a humble and determined farmer named Ramu. He wasn't rich, nor did he possess vast tracts of land. All he had was a small patch of soil, a pair of strong arms, a hopeful heart, and an unshakable spirit that whispered the same words every morning: never give up. Ramu inherited a small piece of land from his late father. While many of his peers had moved to cities chasing salaried jobs and modern comforts, Ramu stayed. To him, the land was not just soil, it was life. Each tree had a story, and every crop carried memories of sweat, tears, and perseverance. Yet, life was not kind. The monsoon had failed 2 years in a row. His harvest barely fed his family, his wife, Meena, and his 2 children, Arav and Chutki. The loans had piled up, the well was drying, and hunger often knocked at the door before dinner was served. The villagers whispered, maybe he should quit farming, maybe the city holds better luck. But Ramu only smiled and repeated, the day I give up is the day this soil dies. I won't let that happen. One summer, the worst drought in decades hit Rampur. The ground cracked, the crops wilted, and even the buffaloes bellowed in protest. Ramu's only ox died, and with it, a part of his heart. He stood in the middle of his dry field, tears mingling with sweat. Meena tried to be strong, but she too was tired. One evening, as Ramu sat in silence under the banyan tree, Arav, now 10, approached and handed him a drawing. It was a picture of a farmer standing proudly next to green crops under the sun. That's you, Papa, said Arav. One day, you'll make the fields green again. Ramu's eyes welled up, but he held back his tears. A father cannot cry when his son is watching. That night, Ramu made a vow to himself. No matter what it took, he would rise. He would plant again, even if he had to do it with his bare hands. Without an ox or money for fertilizers, Ramu turned to old methods: composting, rainwater harvesting, and deep plowing. He studied from books, borrowed from the local school, and even attended a government agricultural camp in the nearby town. He learned about crop rotation, drip irrigation, and organic farming. With a new understanding and a renewed will, Ramu began transforming his land. He built a small tank to store rainwater, made organic compost from kitchen waste and cow dung, and started planting milletsa drought-resistant crop. The villagers watched, half amused, half skeptical. Millets? Who will buy them? Too much effort for too little land. But Ramu didn't argue. He smiled and worked harder. Day after day, he toiled from sunrise to sunset. Meena helped him spread compost. Arav and Chutki helped plant seeds. And slowly, tiny green shoots peeked through the dry earth. By the time the festival of Diwali approached, Ramu's field was the only one in the village that had something growing. The millets danced gently in the breeze, golden and ripe. A local buyer from the city who dealt in organic produce visited Rampur and was impressed. He offered Ramu a fair price, almost double the market rate. For the first time in years, Ramu cleared some debt, bought books for Arav, and even a small red ribbon for Chutki's hair. That night, the family sat under the stars, sharing jaggery sweets. There was laughter, pure, heart-filling laughter. Still, Ramu did not stop. He expanded his land by leasing an adjacent fallow patch. Every season, he tried new crops: turmeric, lentils, sunflowers, and every time, he recorded the results, improving little by little. Ramu's success could no longer be ignored. The village began to notice. Some farmers asked for advice. Others watched from a distance, torn between pride and envy. Then one day, a team from the district agricultural department arrived. They had heard of a miracle farmer from Rampur who revived barren land without chemicals or machines. Ramu was invited to speak at a farmers' convention in the nearby town of Bhagalpur. He stood nervously on stage, holding his torn cap in his hands, and spoke from the heart. I am not educated. I don't know big words, but I know soil, I know sweat, and I know this: never give up. When things don't work, try something new. Learn, fall, get up, try again. Just don't give up. The hall erupted in applause. Soon after, a short documentary was made about his journey. Ramu became a small local hero, though fame never changed him. His hands still bore calluses, and he still woke up before the sun. Success, however, is never permanent. 2 years later, a flood swept through Rampur. The river overflowed, water drowned the fields, and once again, Ramu's crops were destroyed. Meena cried silently. Arav, now in high school, offered to quit and take up a job in town. But Ramu gathered his family and said, "We've faced droughts, hunger, and death. A flood can't scare us now. We'll start again, together." He cleared the field 1 foot at a time. He built stronger bunds, raised the soil level, and planted again. This time, Padya, flood-tolerant crop. Months later, while many struggled, Ramu had a modest but healthy harvest. Again, he had turned disaster into opportunity. Years passed. Arav became an agricultural scientist, inspired by his father's journey. He worked on sustainable farming methods and brought technology to rural areas. Chutki became a school teacher, teaching kids the value of their roots. Ramu, now older, still walked to his fields every morning, his back a little bent, but his eyes still full of fire. People from other villages came to meet him, not for charity, but to learn. When a young farmer asked him, "Kaka, what's the secret to your success?" Ramu laughed and replied, "Failure." The boy looked confused. Ramu smiled. "Every time I failed, I learned. And every time I got up, I became stronger. The only secret is never give up." Ramu passed away in his sleep one peaceful winter morning, his hands resting on a photo of his field. The villagers lit candles at his grave and planted a neem tree in his honor. Years later, that tree stood tall, sheltering tired farmers and children playing beneath it. On a nearby plaque were the words, "In memory of Ramu, the farmer who taught us that no storm is stronger than the will to rise again. Never give up.